Hannibal's last march. How Rome almost fell forever. Hannibal's name echoes through Roman history as an omen of destruction. Even centuries later, chroniclers still wrote his name cautiously, as if evoking it would bring back a time when Rome was one step away from the abyss. It wasn't just a distant war or another defeated foreign general. It was the moment when the empire that considered itself invincible felt, for the first time, the real fear of ceasing to exist. Rome had grown accustomed to winning. Its legions marched with relentless discipline. Its roads throbbed like veins of stone through the known world, and its politics blended ambition with brutality. Each victory reinforced the certainty that destiny was on its side. But while the senators celebrated conquests and riches, a silent enemy was preparing. Hannibal Barca planned not only to defeat armies, he wanted to humiliate Rome, dismantle its confidence, and prove that the empire could bleed. What almost no one realizes, however, is that the greatest danger to Rome was not a specific battle, nor a direct siege of its walls. The most critical moment occurred when Rome believed it still had control of the situation. Behind Hannibal's fame as a military genius lay a succession of risky choices, extreme human sacrifices, and decisions that placed the entire history of the Mediterranean at a delicate breaking point. Before we dive headfirst into this amazing story, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment on what fascinates you most about these accounts of the past. This helps the channel grow and shows that you want to continue traveling through history as if you were there, witnessing each decisive moment. At the end of the 3rd century BC, the Mediterranean world was a powder keg. Rome and Carthage were inherently opposing powers. Rome grew through force of arms, absorbing territories and imposing its order. Carthage prospered through trade, maritime control, and a network of alliances spread across North Africa and the Iberian Peninsula. The First Punic War had ended with Carthage defeated, indebted, and humiliated. The peace that followed brought no reconciliation, only resentment. Carthage paid heavy tributes to Rome while attempting to rebuild its power. Many Romans believed the enemy was broken forever, but few realized that, far from the eyes of the Senate, a new generation of Carthaginian leaders was being shaped with a single purpose: revenge. The world seemed stable, but something was brewing behind the scenes. Hannibal was born into this environment of defeat and suppressed hatred. Son of Hamilcar Barca, one of Carthage's greatest generals, he grew up amidst military campaigns and fiery speeches against Rome. According to ancient accounts, as a child, Hannibal was taken by his father to an altar and made a solemn oath to be the eternal enemy of the Romans. That was not a symbolic ritual. It was a sentence that would shape his entire life. From a young age, Hannibal demonstrated an unusual strategic mind. He learned to command older men, to negotiate with hostile tribes, and to use the terrain as a weapon. He was not only courageous, he was patient, observant, and ruthless when necessary. He knew human weaknesses and how to exploit them. While Rome relied on brute force, Hannibal relied on intelligence and surprise. When he decided to attack Rome, his choice shocked even his allies. Instead of crossing the sea, as expected, he led his army overland, traversing hostile regions of Gaul and then the dreaded Alps. The march was a nightmare. Snow, famine, avalanches, and constant attacks decimated his troops. The war elephants, symbols of Carthaginian power, slipped on narrow trails and fell into the abyss. Many men died without ever seeing a Roman. Still, Hannibal pressed on. Each step was a declaration of defiance. When he finally descended from the mountains and entered Italy, Rome was stunned. No one believed that army could have survived. But there it was, wounded, reduced, yet determined. And then the Roman defeats began. At the Battle of the Trebia River, Hannibal used the cold, the terrain, and Roman impatience against them. At Lake Trasimene, he set up such a perfect ambush that an entire army was destroyed without even understanding what was happening. But it was at Cannae that the ancient world stopped to watch. There, Hannibal surrounded a much larger Roman army and annihilated it almost surgically. The battlefield was transformed into a slaughterhouse. Blood flowed across the ground. Rome lost tens of thousands of men in a single day. Imagine the impact of this news reaching the city. The silence in the Senate, the fear in the streets. For the first time, Rome didn't know how to react. Many allies began to doubt. Some Italian cities switched sides to Hannibal. The empire seemed poised to fragment. At that moment, it seemed inevitable that Rome would fall. But then came the most controversial decision of Hannibal's career. He did not immediately march on Rome. His troops were tired, far from home, and the reinforcements promised by Carthage never arrived in sufficient numbers. Hannibal hoped that Rome would surrender due to psychological pressure and isolation. But Rome chose to resist. It changed its strategy. It avoided direct battles, cut off supplies, and attacked Carthaginian allies. The war became slow, cruel, and exhausting. Time, which had previously seemed to be Hannibal's ally, began to work against him. Rome learned from its mistakes. It forged new generals, such as Scipio Africanus, who would take the war to the heart of Carthage. Hannibal was forced to return to Africa. At Zama, he faced an enemy who had studied his every move. For the first time, he was decisively defeated. Carthage fell, Rome won. But the victory was neither clean nor peaceful. From that day forward, Rome would never feel safe again. Hannibal's shadow remained. The Senate began to treat any threat with extreme brutality. Decades later, Carthage would be completely destroyed, its lands salted, its memory almost erased. It was the price of the fear that Hannibal had instilled. To this day, historians debate. What if Hannibal had marched on Rome right after Cannae? Would the empire have crumbled? No one can say for sure. But one thing is undeniable. Hannibal's last great march proved that no empire is untouchable. Courage, intelligence, and the right moment are all it takes to make the world tremble. If you want to continue traveling through stories like this, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and tell us in the comments which general, empire, or battle you want to see in the next video. History is full of powerful echoes waiting to be heard again.